Welcome to Jedala Fashion Guide. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to read and use the measuring tape. Now, this is our tape. I've already drew this to represent our tape. Now, before I explain this, I'm going to be explaining this rectangle. On the tape, at the beginning of the tape, where you have this iron, is the zero mark there. That place is the beginning, starts from 0. See it. Then you have long, longer, long, longest, long, longer, long, longest. So that's what I've drawn here. So I have long, longer, long, longest. Okay. So before I explain what this means, let's explain our quarter. Those quarter, half, three-quarter. Let's explain it. Now, if you have a rectangle that is shared into 4 equal parts, this is 4/4, which is the same thing as 1 whole. Now, assuming you are shading 1 part of it, how many parts is left unshaded? Is 3/4 plus the part that is shaded, 1/4. So if you add them back, it will still give you 1. Now, this 3/4, also known as 3/4, because that is quarter, 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 quarter. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Okay, 3/4. If you are to convert it to decimal, if you are to convert this 3/4 to decimal, you are going to have this 3 will be inside the numerator, the 4 is outside, and 4 into 3, 0 point. Add 0. 4 into 30, the closest you have is 7. 7 times 4, 28. 30 minus 28 is 2. Add 0. 4 into 20 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. So 3/4 is the same thing as 0.25. Okay, this 3/4 is the same thing as 0.75. Which is also known as 3/4. Now, assuming you now have 2 parts shaded, following the same, we have 2/4 plus 2/4. And this 2/4 is actually half plus half, because it divides, that point divides the rectangle into 2 equal parts. Okay, so it's same thing as 1/2. And if you do our division, 2 into 1, 0 point, add 0. 2 into 10 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. So you see that 2/4 is same thing as 0.5. Okay. Now, what if you now have this 1/4? If you now have it divided, this 3 part shaded, so the part that is not shaded is now 1/4. Plus the part that is shaded, 3/4. Now this will also give us 1. The 1/4 in decimal form, let's see what that will give us. 1, 4 inside. 4 into 1, 0 point. 4 into 10 is 2. 2 times 4, 8. 10 minus 2, 10 minus 8 is 2. Add 0. 4 into 20 is 5. And 5 times 4 is 20. So 1/4 is 0.25. I hope that is clear. Now, let's come to the tape. So, on the tape, this is our tape. On the tape, from the very beginning, if you have a tape that does not have the iron, this line is the beginning. So, we'll call that place 0. Immediately after that, you have a long one. You have a longer one. Long, longer. Then long, longest. So this longer line, this longer, is the quarter. This one is quarter, 1/4. This is the quarter. So if you come to So from the tape, here is 1, so here will be 2, here will be 3, here will be 4, 5, and so on. That is how you have it on the tape. So you have the quarter line here. So after 1, here is also the quarter line. After 2, here is the quarter line. After 3, here is the quarter line. After 4, here is the quarter line. So that is how to know quarter. So the longest, this is the longest. The longest is sharing this between this 0 and this 1. Is sharing the tape into 2 equal parts. So if you share your tape into 2 equal parts, you are going to have 2 over 4. You have 2 over 4, which is what we have calculated as half. And half in decimal form is 0.5. So this longest line is the half. So here is 0.5. Here is the other 0.5. Then here 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and here is also 0.5, and so on. So if you have to read the tape, this is 0.5, this is 1.5, which is 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 2.5, which is 2.5, 3.5, which is 3.5. So on the tape, if you have to read the tape, so this is 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and so on. 18.5. If you are measuring something that is 18.5, 29.5, 36.5. So that is how you read that part. Now the same thing with the quarter. This is 1 quarter. So after 1, you see a long line, then you see a longer line. So the longer line is a quarter. After 2, you see a long and see a longer. This longer one is a quarter. So this is 2.25, 3.25, 4.25, 5.25. Can you see that? And so on. Now let's explain the 3/4. Where do we have 3/4? Let's come back to this our rectangle. 3/4 is when you divide, if you are dividing your square into 4, 3 parts, that is 3/4. So as it between this 0 and this 1, we are dividing this by 4. We are dividing here. This is 1 part. This line divides it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So from here, this 0 to the longer line after the 0.5, the longer line, not the long one, the longer line, which is the second line. The second line after the 0.5 is the 3/4 line. This part here, this one is a 3/4. After 0.5, the longer line is 3/4. After 0.5, the longer line is 3/4. Let me use this 3/4. After the longest line, the longer line is 3/4. So if you are going to read the tape, this is 3/4, this is 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, and so on. So on the tape, 6, this is 6.5. Look at it, 6.5, then 6.75. So 6.75, 6.75 is the same thing. Remember that our 3/4 is 0.75. So 6.75 is something as 6.75. That is 6 plus 0.75 to give you 6.75. That is how to read it. Now, this long line, how do you read this long line? Because most people, they find it difficult to read it. Now, between this 0 and this 1, you are going to count the spaces that you have. You discover that you have 8 spaces. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means this rectangle that was originally divided into 4 was further divided again. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is one. Let me wipe this so that we can explain that. So which is 8 over 8, the same thing as 1. So one part of it, let's say one part of it is shaded. This one part is 1 over 8. 1 over 8 plus the remaining part that is not shaded will also give us 1. So this 1 over 8, let's convert it to decimal. What are we going to have? If you are converting this 1 over 8 to decimal, this is 8. 1 inside, 8 outside. 8 into 1, 0. 8 into 10 is 1. 1 times 8, 8. 10 minus 8 is 2, as 0. 8 into 20, the closest is 16, which is 2. 2 times 8, 16. 20 minus 16 is 4, add 0. 8 into 40 is 5. 5 times 8 is 40. So 1 over 8 is 0.125, which is half of a quarter. So this long line is half of quarter. So half of quarter is 1 over 8. Can you see that? So this line here, this one here is 1 over 8. Okay, immediately after 1, this one 1 over 8. Immediately after 2, that long line is 1 over 8. Immediately after 3, that long one is 1 over 8. So that means we have 1 over 8, then we have 1/4, then we have half, we have 3/4, and then the full one. I hope that is clear. So 1 over 8 in decimal form is 0.125. 2 of this will give us quarter. Okay, so 0.125 plus another 0.125 will give us 0.25. So quarter plus another quarter will give us half. We give us half, and half is the same thing as 0.5 if you have been following me closely. And then we have the 3/4, which we have already explained. Let me write the 3/4 here. We have already explained the 3/4, and we said the 3/4 is 0.75. Don't need this anymore. So when it now comes to measurements, you are measuring, and you have, because it's not every time you measure your customer's body that you're going to have a whole number. Okay, sometimes let's say you have a bust of 34. Let's say bust 34, and you want to now take the measurement after dividing by 4. If you divide this by 4, what is that going to give you? Take your tape, go to 34. Then first of all fold it into 2. That will give us 17. Fold 17 again into 2. That will give us, so when you have this, something like this now, so how do you now read it? So this is 8.5. Do you see that? 8.5. So that is how you read it, 8.5. So assuming you have let's say okay, let's say a bus span. The bus span is 6.5. Let's say the bus span is 6.5, and when you want to make the dart, you are going to be dividing by 2. Come to your tape. This is where you have 6.5. Fold it into 2. So what do you have? You see that it ends in 3. So how do you read this? That is 3/4. And you see that? 3/4. And from our explanation, quarter is 0.25. So 3/4 is same as 3.25. So that is how you read your tape. Now, assuming on your tape, let's say you have something like let me wipe this. Assuming you have 5.8, or let me say 4.8. If you now have 4.8, which is the same as 4.80, how do you know where it is on the tape? The 4.8, how do you know where it is? So let's use the tape on the board first. This is where we have 4. And we have said that immediately after the 4, this long line, we said is the 1/8 line. And we said after that, we have the quarter. And then after that, you see you have another 1/8 again before half. You have another 1/8 again before 3/4. Okay, so the closest to this, you have 4. This is 4.5. Is 4/3. This 4/3 is, this is how you write the 4/3. It will be 4. 3/4 is 0.75. So it's 4.75. So on the tape, you can just use this. Just use this line. That means when you measure from the beginning of the tape, you are going to be ending on this line. This 4.75 is the closest, because by the time you approximate, you are going to have 4.8. If you decide to extend it, it means that your measurement is going to be more. It means what you are doing is that you are adding 1.8 to it, and 1/8 is the same thing as 0.125. So add that together and see if it will give you this. If it will give you this, then you make use of this instead, because if you are using this, you are using 4.75. That means you have a shortage already of 0.05. And if you go ahead to use this, that means you are going to be having a shortage. It's better to have overage than shortage. So let's add these two together. Let's see what it is going to give to us. 4.75, 0.125. As soon as there is a 0, then we are adding 5. 7. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. So you are going to be having 4.8. Remember that if you approximate this to the nearest number, you are going to, this one will give you 4.9. It's going to give you 4.9. It's going to give you 4.9, and your measurement is 4.8. So you see that to be on the safer side, it's better for you to use this 4.9 and now trim up the excess later than to use 4.75 and now have a shortage. So that is how you read your tape. Let's take one last example before we go. So assuming your tape you have measured and you have your measurement is stopping here, 218 is same as 2 plus 18 is 0.125, 0.125, which is the same as 2.125. So if in your measurements you have 2.2, let's say for example your measurement says 2.2, so how do you now indicate on the tape where you have 2.2? Mind you, after this 1.8, the next mark here is the quarter line, and quarter is 0.25. So 2 and quarter, I don't need this anymore. 2 and quarter is 2 points. Remember that quarter is 0.25. So you now compare which one is closest to what you want to read. If you decide to use 2.125, by the time we approximate this to the nearest, if you approximate this, we are going to have 2.13. Okay, I mean we're here, we have 2.2, so we cannot use this. But meanwhile, this 2.25 is already more than this, so we can use this. So if your measurement is 2.2 on the tape, you make use of 2 quarter. If you can further share this into 2 again, then you don't allow it to get to the quarter mark. If you know you can be able to share it on the tape. Know that the tape is tiny, you may not be able to share it, so that is why we are rounding it to the nearest one. You see this in between is small, so to be on the safe side, you make use of this. So that is how to read and use the tape. Thank you very much for staying tuned to me. Once again, this is Jodella Fashion Guide. Please subscribe to my channel, like this channel, share this channel, share it, and please subscribe so that you can keep seeing more of these videos. We have come to the end of this class. Thank you very much. See you in my next class. Bye.